time for the shop.
Khalil, you might have to. They not in here. What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. Of course, we want to remind you the Shop Report is brought to you by Rocket Digital Media. It's the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. And of course, now Eddie G's Cookies. That's right. If you want a cookie that is good, that tastes good, and ain't got all that other stuff that ain't no good for you in it. Did I say that right? Hop on over to eddiegs.com and place your order today. For my folk out there in TV land, if you want to leave your questions or comments during today's program, by all means, please do so, and we will throw it up on the screen. And y'all know what's coming next. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. If you're one of them folks that wants to leave a question or comment that's indignant or ignorant in nature, won't be seen on this screen. Matter of fact, here's what you'll get.
For that.
With that being said, nobody is joining me on the program today, at least not at this time. I got a couple of my co-hosts over here running late. Just got a text 2 or 3 from them talking about some, what time was it going to be today and all that other good stuff. But that's all right, as they say. Bear with me. Oh, wow. Yeah, shout out to the viewers out there. Miss Georgia Brown, that's right, always throwing down. No hat, no none of that. You know what I mean? It was a rough day today, so to speak. So as the show must go on, as they say. So until my co-host can get here. Oh, you know what? Can y'all bear with me for 1 minute? Let me do something here. Bear with me. I'm sorry. All right, that's a little bit better. I had to shed some light on things. Oh boy, I better turn that off. Boy, they just don't make them like they used to. But before we get our co-host here, while we waiting on them to get here, we'll start things off, okay? You know what I'm saying? Or a little NFL news and notes. That's the only item we got on the menu for the day. Excuse me. Again, while we waiting on them to get here, there's been conversations ongoing, not just today or yesterday or even the day before or even 5 years ago. I'll get to your comments here in a second. Thank you very much. We appreciate y'all for weighing in. That's for sure. There's been a lot of conversation about coaching, in particular, this whole deal with Bill Belichick. And we did discuss it last week, the stuff that Robert Kraft is saying about him, rightfully or wrongfully or otherwise, in particular, our thoughts or minds anyway, was Robert Kraft got enough on his plate, okay, and he got enough on his resume that he need to be quiet, okay, about saying anything about anybody. Bill did what he was supposed to do for you. Now that he gone, you want to throw mud on his name. That's, that make you look suspect if you ask me. But anyway, the idea for this whole thing about coaching, and coaching trees actually is the discussion that we had when we got off the air that day. And I was like, man, I wonder whose coaching trees like the most extensive, like what coach in the NFL or in the history of the NFL got a coaching tree where those coaches went on to win Super Bowls or playoff, NFC, AFC championship, that type of deal. Of course, Don Shula's name came up. What was his coaching tree like? Bill Parcells, and actually the question in part was like, how come the folks off of Bill Belichick's coaching tree don't have the same amount of success as do some others, And I don't know what coaching tree Andy Reid is from, but the mind, I like I tell y'all all the time, every time, like the transmission on a 68 Buick that's been sitting in the garage too long, sometimes the mind do be slipping. As you all can see what shirt I'm in today, okay, it's really not a free plug. It's just some stuff was going on, and it was like, bam, 5 minutes of showtime, you got to do what you got to do, right? But anywho, Paul Brown, when we talk about coaches and coaching trees, Paul Brown's name rarely, if ever, comes up. And I don't know why, due to recency bias or what. But anyway, we're going to bring one of my other co-hosts in. Shout out to my man, D. Gully in the CO Lump Bus. I'm glad you could join us. What's happening?
Yeah, what's good? What's going on? I see the fade looking all right. I see how we're looking.
Okay, let me get to this comment before I comment on what you're saying over there. What you're trying to say. Hold on. Let me get to this comment right here. Let's see. Divine NTR. Oh, shout out. Okay. All right. All right. Divine NTR. We appreciate you for weighing in or tuning in, I should say. Gully, we're talking about coaching and coaching trees. And I mentioned just Bill Belichick a little bit ago. We're waiting for Double J to get in here too still. Um, a lot of the talk about who's coaching tree, who's coaches off the coaching tree. Let me say that fast 2 times. Like whose coaches were more, did the most, and I'm sitting here wondering as we were discussing it last week after the show, like how come Paul Brown's name never comes up, and I say recency bias, obviously. The Holmgrens, the Andy Reeds, and so on and so forth, and obviously the Bill Belichick's, but Paul Brown's name never comes up. So, me, I did a little digging. You understand me? And here's what I came up with in regards to Paul Brown. And this I didn't know. I'm not saying I know everything, but I know a lot of things, or some things, and some things I just don't know. But I didn't know this. Did I say that right? Okay, here we go. And I'm going to read to you all. Y'all know how I like to do. Sometimes I get on here and I like to read.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Story time with Barbershop Jay.
Okay. Settle down there. All right. Settle down. Don't start nothing, bro. And I'm going to read this article. So y'all got to bear with me, right? Paul Brown. Well, actually, the header is innovative Paul Brown voted NFL's greatest game changer. Do you agree with that? Even to this day, Gully?
Well, yeah, there's some truth to that, but I want to elaborate more why.
Why he's the NFL's voted the NFL's greatest.
Yeah, they still say that. Right,
Okay.
right. What was the game like before him?
Y'all bear with me one more second. I need to get a little bit more light and jumping off here. Oh boy, I'm talking about not being prepared. Jeez, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Well, apparently I wasn't ready. Hold on. Oh. Duh. I do got them all on. It's just I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if it's a glare outside or what. But anyway.
That fade, bro.
What?
That fade. That glare. That fade. That crispy fade that you got there.
Oh, settle down, Kimosabi. Settle on down. Now, let me Let me point out here that this article is from 2019. All right.
Okay.
But even still, I think it's still somewhat relevant, right? Because what Paul Brown did and his impact on the game back then is still being seen today, is my point. Paul Brown's influence on professional football has been felt for decades. He is as responsible as anyone for making it America's most popular sport. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. The innovative coach and powerful team owner has been voted the NFL's greatest game changer. A nationwide panel, and again, this is from 2019, a nationwide panel of 57 media members selected the founder of the Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals, giving him 8 first-place votes and 2,359 points. I didn't know they had a point. I knew they had a vote thing, but I didn't know they had a point system. Brown beat out Pete Rozelle, widely considered the best commissioner in pro sports history. Didn't know that either. Who earned 2,227 points, despite having the most first-place votes at 14. Brown, Paul, inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1967, a year before the Bengals were born, is credited with bringing many now common elements to the sport like game plans and playbooks, the use of game film and scouting, coaches or coordinators calling plays, a radio transmitter inside the quarterback's helmet for play calling, and the helmet face mask. Now,
whoa.
Pause.
Pause.
I was just going to ask you.
Run that list back for me again.
Okay. Paul Brown is credited with bringing many now common elements to the sport of football, obviously, like game plans and playbooks, the use of game film and scouting, coaches or coordinators calling plays, a radio transmitter inside the quarterback's helmet for play calling, and the helmet mask.
Are you serious, bro?
Yes. You didn't know that? That I did know. You didn't know that?
No. I mean, how is? Think about it. We argue about offensive coordinators. Well, how much of the last 2 seasons have you and I both been talking about offensive coordinators and play calling, and who calls the plays? Football football was played I'll put it this way: football was played at a significant level before these things. I thought these things are what you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it wasn't pro football without a coordinator. It wasn't pro football without game. I did not know that, bro. Yeah, for sure. Most
Okay.
innovative.
Okay. Let me read on. With a successful background in high school, college, and military service coaching, Brown was the first to hire a full time coaching staff. He instituted a college scouting system that soon was copied by every other pro franchise. And ever the disciplinarian, Brown had his players stay in a hotel the night before a home game as well as before a road game. Now, who's doing that?
Dang, you got to be at the hotel on the home games too. The road
Yeah, I was
games
about to
make
say
sense,
I can see I can see away games, but home games. Oh yeah, he was a
bro.
stick.
Nope, no house calls. No house calls
Exactly.
before Sunday.
when you saw a when you saw a Paul Brown team, it would be Paul Brown. Oh boy, say that fast. Yeah, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a wood cut no wood? Oh wow.
Yeah, to find out if Paul Brown coaching the woodchuck. Then you
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
answer is
Well, I'm
it's
just finished. I'm
different.
finna. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna finna chuck that. How about that? When you say a Paul Brown team, it would be Paul Brown, the creator, said running back Jim Brown, Paul Brown's greatest player. There'd be something always new. Or should that read there'd always be something new? Yeah, okay. I like that a little bit better. Anywho, one thing that never got old with Brown was winning. His Browns, they were named for him by original team owner Mickey McBride. So that we can kill all that noise right now. Who the Browns were named after? I tried to tell somebody the Cleveland Browns were named after Paul Brown,
Who did
and
they
not
think it was named after?
and not the orange barrels that you see littering our highways and byways.
well, to be fair, to be completely transparent, I believe it was because McBride, the owner, held a contest for the name, and that was the winning submission. So his idea to open it up with his idea to open it up to someone other than himself, he should get credit for. But it was like a fan submission that came up with the name.
That wasn't hard to come up with. So it was a fan, somebody that was. Oh wait a minute, boy, what is
Yeah,
going on?
they had,
Oh,
they had,
you know what? Hold on,
they had
let me give myself a button. My gosh, boy, chewing on, they ain't got no chiclets left, man. Got 4 teeth, 2 in my mouth and 2 in my pocket. Um, yeah. So, wait, say that again there, right? Hold on, say that again right
so
quick.
there was a contest
Oh,
for the
okay,
name. And it was
okay.
because the original name for the team, that the intended name for the team was already in use by obviously defunct franchise. I think they were
Mm.
going to be like the Spiders or something. And
Oh
that
no,
name was
that's the Guardians.
no.
The baseball
They
team was the Spiders at one point in time.
were going to be the Spider, right? But it may have been that the name was still already legally trademarked by someone other than the owner, and they couldn't get the rights
Okay,
to it because they wanted another name.
okay,
And
gotcha.
so they opened it up, and bless their soul, they picked the Browns after the team.
Yeah, well, how hard was that? Mm,
It's still, no matter what, we just own it though. Like let's be honest, man. We come to embrace it because that's the name of the sports team in Cleveland.
right.
But
Yeah.
what is a Brown?
You don't you asking me? You really
And
want
then why
you
is our
really
primary color orange?
because of the orange barrels that you see all up on the highways. Every week they're doing something different. My
Yeah, but
God.
I'm saying we call the Browns. But listen, you with the first color that comes to your mind when you say brown, what is it? When you say Cleveland Browns, what's the first color that comes to your mind?
It ain't orange.
It definitely, it definitely is orange for me. It's orange and white.
Well, I thought you was going the other way with that. Like if somebody say Cleveland Browns, the first color that would come to mind would be brown,
Yeah,
not
no, not
orange.
that. Yeah, no, it would. I get you.
You
I
know what I'm
get
trying
you.
to say?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I pick up what you
Yeah.
laying down.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that primarily based on the play that we've seen throughout my lifetime. Oh,
We didn't see it a lot last season until it counted.
yeah, exactly.
In fairness,
Until that 45, and I don't mean Coke 45 was put up on
Mm-mm.
them. Keep hope alive. Wait till next
Right.
year. That's for you, brother Rich, and the Buffalo wagons circling the bills or whatever you call it. Anywho, they were named for him by original team owner Mickey McBride. Were champions of the All-American Football Conference in each of its 4 seasons. In 1950, the NFL accepted the Browns, Colts, and 49ers into its ranks. The Los Angeles Dons merged with the LA Rams in great part to get Brown into the more established league. Interesting. After compiling a 47-4-3 record in the AAFC, where he also oversaw the breaking of the color barrier in 1946 with such African American stars as Marion Motley and Bill Willis, Brown's team was considered an interloper in the NFL. Guess again. Brown was so far ahead of other NFL coaches, including, oh man, let me take a sip.
Yeah.
Because this I did not know. And you know what's crazy? And that's what's interesting. Now that I think back on it, you remember that book I've been telling you about called The League?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all about that, and then some. When we get back, we're gonna keep on going. Right now, we're gonna take a B break, baby. Should we take a 20? Nah, we're gonna do a 29. You know what I'm saying? A 2-9 on the side and pump and push this, promote this merchandise, baby. We need y'all to buy some. We need to sell some jerseys. Don't touch it. We'll be right back in 29. 2-9. You understand, man?
What it do, sports fans? It's your man BSJ from the Shop Report. And guess what? The shop is now open for business, baby. If you're on Facebook, go to our fan page, The Shop Report, click on more, and then shop to view all products. Or if you're on Instagram, click on the shop tab to see all our products. I mean, what you want me to do? I'm selling merch here.
Absolutely. And we are back. Okay, let me keep going here. Brown's team was considered an interloper in the NFL. Guess again. Brown was so far ahead of other NFL coaches. Are you ready for this, man? Are you ready for this? You're not talking now? All right. Brown was so far ahead of other NFL
I
coaches.
lost you.
Oh, okay. You back? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I'm back. Oh, all right, go ahead now.
Okay. He was so far ahead of other NFL coaches, including. Now, I want you to take a guess right quick. Who you think they are mentioning here possibly as him being Brown so far ahead of
Tom Landry and my guy from Green Bay.
No. Brown was so far ahead of other NFL coaches, including the likes of George Halas, Mr. Football, and Curly Lambeau. So far ahead of them both. Yeah. What you gonna say?
No, keep going.
Yeah, so far ahead of them now that Cleveland went 10-2. The Browns even beat the defending NFL champion Eagles 35-10 in a show us what you got, quote unquote, season opener in Philadelphia. They won the league title in a 30-28 classic over the Rams. Unfortunately, they lost the next three league championship games before routing Detroit in 1954 and the Rams in 1955. In all, Brown went 111 wins, 44 losses, and 5 ties as Brown's boss before being fired by new team owner Art Modell after a 7-6-1 record in 1962. So Art Modell started this trend of firing coaches with winning records. I'm just saying, that's what it looked like to me. Okay. Brown had only one losing season in Cleveland. One. You want me to run that by y'all again? One losing season in his whole time in Cleveland. But Art Modell, okay, well, I'm just saying. Things were different in Cincinnati, where Brown had 4 winning records in 8 seasons in charge of his expansion franchise in a city across Ohio from Cleveland. In head-to-head play with the Browns in those years, 1968 through 75, the Bengals went only 5-7, with each defeat deeply hurting Brown. I bet it did. He stepped down as coach in 1976, but continued contributing to the league on many important committees as the NFL grew and grew. I was a rookie. I got a chance to sit next to him on the bus on the way to a game, Bengals quarterback Boomer Esiason said. He said to me, Boomer, don't ever forget the people who came before you and made football the game it is today. All right, I'm just going to stop right there for about 72 minutes. That last statement should be applicable to right now. This is the problem that we're having when we have these discussions about the NBA, the no way, the okay, the not today. That's the problem. I told y'all, wasn't it doing it last week? I told y'all I was having a conversation, or they was having a sports debate in the cafeteria where I work at. And I came in the cafeteria, and one of the guys who kind of knew how to talk sports said, hey, man, come here. What you think about this? And one of the other guys, younger guy, way younger than me. And I said what I had to say, and I don't remember what it was. There you go with the AARP moments. The dude going to tell me anything before 1989 don't exist or shouldn't be discussed. Huh? I'm like, if it wasn't for 1989, how would you be here? I'm just saying. Don't ever forget the people who came before you and made football the game it is today, or made the NBA what it is today, or made the NHL what it is today. Y'all can't dismiss what happened before you. It's called a timeline for a reason. I'm just saying. Let me keep going. I digressionize. Brown's coaching tree, here's the kicker, includes Hall of Famers Don Shula.
Yep.
Bill Walsh.
Yep.
Weeb Eubank and Chuck Noll. Do I need to mention anybody else?
No. So no, I like to see like that, like the big four, if you will, of coaching. So Bill Walsh, Don Shula. Who did the other? Who was the other two you said?
Weeb Eubank was the coach of the Jets when they won with Joe Namath.
Got you. And Chuck Noll. Wow.
Now, I'm gonna keep reading this, and it's not that long, y'all. Bear with me. It ain't but so long. But I'm just asking you, off the dome, off the top of your head, right? Other than those four coaches I just mentioned, who else would you throw up there? I know Andy Reid is a given, and Bill Parcells, right? It's a given. Yeah, shout out. Oh, we got another. Wow. Got another latecomer to the party. How's everything? How was traffic? Double J. Shout out to Double J, y'all. He joined us on the P program today. I mean, you know what I'm saying? How's the traffic out there? Did you get your Lucia? You had to make a quick
no, I didn't even have time for that.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's nice.
Oh. Mama needed a new pair of shoes.
He's going to be on edge now.
Yeah, Mama needed a new pair of shoes, huh? They had to make a quick run to the mall. Hey.
No, board meeting night. So this apparently was one of those that had a lot of agenda items, unfortunately.
The board. Oh, boy. You know what that means? He's going to interfere in the next matchup here.
Was it a chessboard or checkerboard or Connect Four? I mean, you can tell us, man. It was bingo night down at the local hall, wasn't it? You know
it was. Bingo. Holy rollers.
You trying to win the TV? Okay, I got you. Anyway, let me.
He don't want to talk about it. It must be serious.
Yeah. Double J, we're talking about Paul Brown and coaching trees. And why, when we talk coaching trees, for whatever reason, Paul Brown's name never seems to come up. And we're at that point in the article I'm reading here, where Brown's coaching tree includes these four names: Don Shula, Bill Walsh, Weeb Eubank, and Chuck Noll. Other than those four, and the obvious, the Bill Parcells and maybe Andy Reid, who else would you name really that? Well, of course, and Bill Belichick. You know what I'm trying. Who else could you name to really say this one guy is kind of responsible for these other guys, okay, having the success that they had? Mind you, Chuck Noll was the coach of the Steelers for 127 years. Well, at least it felt like that every time they did the Browns wrong. And we know what Bill Walsh, well, you know what I'm trying to say?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so who else could you come up with other than the three I just mentioned?
So again, I did hear. I only heard the first, which was of course Paul Brown. But I know you mentioned. Bill Walsh you'd mentioned as well, right?
Okay, yep. Bill Walsh.
Mm-hmm.
No, Don Shula.
Oh, okay.
Bill Walsh.
Yep.
Weeb Eubank and Chuck Noll.
Okay. If I wanted to try to go more modern, I could look at guys like Tony Dungy, maybe.
Okay, that's a good one.
Mike Shanahan, maybe.
You see, he fell out of his chair.
Okay. Okay. Now you're talking maybe Joe Gibbs. No,
I
would go
Joe Gibbs.
You would say Joe Gibbs.
Bill
Wait a minute.
Parcells.
You mentioned you wouldn't mention Mike Shanahan to place him ahead of Joe Gibbs.
No. I thought we're just purely off of coaching trees. I'm talking about people, not their individual resume or accolades.
Oh, okay,
just
I got
specific to the tree itself. Otherwise, I mean, the tuna. Like you don't get Bill Belichick if you don't have the tuna.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whether they know it or not, nearly everyone in the game of football has been affected by
Here we go again.
Has been affected by Paul Brown, Roselle said. His wealth of ideas changed the game. All right, let's see here. And then they go on to talk about Pete Rozelle. All right, so yeah, there it is, people.
But not Howard.
Not Howard who?
Roselle.
Who is Howard Roselle?
Come on.
You mean Howard Cosell?
Oh yeah. I need the list.
Oh wow, really? Oh wow.
Nah, I'm like Howard Roselle. I'm like, man, don't spit it to me for this inside joke because I don't know who he talking about.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Oh, there's an addendum here. Sorry. I was sitting here wondering because I saved it to my phone, right? And I'm sitting there.
Yeah, he didn't send it to either of us. Otherwise, they would have been there. Thankfully, in order. Good call, by the way, because I got the others ready whenever you are. But
I mean, I'm just saying. But you were. I mean, you were at the board meeting lodge, the Wolf's Den, or whatever they call that over there. Okay, so wait a minute now.
Family show, Lions Den. No, you said Wolf's Den. My bad.
Here's another article. I actually had two. I didn't know that, right? In the other article, this is just a kind of addendum or continuation of, they said it would take a book to explain Paul Brown's coaching tree. There are more, but suffice it to say, here the Brown tree grew branches all the way to Mike Holmgren, Bill Cowher, Bill Belichick, Tom Coughlin, Marty Schottenheimer, John Fox. Oh.
So that's everybody. I mean, that was like half of the list I just gave you.
Yeah, I mean, well, what do you want me to tell you?
You say that, though.
Why? Hang on a second. What I don't understand is if those are branches of his tree, then why are the others even given their own limelight, if we want to call it that? Because they themselves were products of that tree.
Right.
I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, like so what are the names? The question I would have, I think in compliment to that, Double J, is like, who are the names? What is Tom Landry's? What is his progeny as far as coaching?
That I don't know.
Right, and then who else did I say? Who else did I say? Tom Landry, Dallas. My guy from Green Bay.
You said Tom Landry.
No, I thought Tom Landry was Dallas.
Yeah, but
am I getting it wrong?
No, you said, he is Dallas. I thought you said who else was that you mentioned?
No, they come from Green Bay.
Oh, Vince Lombardi.
Vince Lombardi. Wow,
yeah.
Lombardi trophy. My bad.
Oh, I thought you were saying Holmgren.
No.
Holmgren.
This before you came here, Double J.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know the coaching progeny from Vince Lombardi and Tom Landry. Maybe let's say they're one of the same, because you're right. That's a lot of names. If the Paul Brown coaching tree has those branches.
Yes.
Dan Reeves is Tom Landry, I think, and then also Ditka, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Ditka was tight end for the Cowboys in the early 70s, and Reeves was a fullback in the late 60s, I think.
But the only problem with that, as far as credibility, would be obviously the 85 Bears are the 85 Bears. But I don't ever remember Dan Reeves winning any Super Bowl. He went to the playoffs quite a few times, but did anybody outside of Ditka within Landry's tree win?
Not that I know of. I don't know everybody from Landry's tree.
Right.
Yeah, but again, I don't think that the success is solely measured by Super Bowls.
That's valid.
You see what I'm saying? You know, now of course, if you got a Super Bowl, that puts you higher up on the list, obviously. You know what I mean? But Dan Reeves my gosh, how many Super Bowls did he go to? He went to 300 with the Broncos, I know, because they beat the Browns 300 times in the AFC championships.
He went to 3.
Okay. No, he went to one with the Falcons too, didn't he?
No.
When Jamal Anderson was the running back?
Yes.
I thought, Broncos and Falcons.
Yeah.
They upset the 15-1 Vikings that year.
The Vikings, yeah. Yeah, Morton Anderson kicked a 412-yard field goal.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, man, at the end of the day, I wanted to show some love to Paul Brown. You know, when we having these discussions, it was two things I wanted to address in this case. Again, you know, the coaching, when we talk about coaching trees, why is he left off the list? Okay. And the recency bias. To point out another example as to why you cannot dismiss what came before. Just because you're happening right now, don't mean dun 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 dun. I should have gave a button. That you the best to ever do it, and like ain't nobody else that came before it need to be dismissed. Everybody wasn't no plumber. Or if you want to call them plumbers, it's because of them plumbers the reason why you got a plunger today.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, let's move on. All right, let's talk some NFL draft right quick. Let's recap after the fact. I just want to ask you all this question. Did the Bills make the biggest, you know, because, you know, I know Brother Rich somewhere out here watching. I know he is, Gully. You know he is. But I got to do this, man. You know what I'm saying? They ain't to throw you under the bus or nothing, you know, the Jerome Bettis or nothing like that. But I'm just saying, did the Bills make the biggest draft day blunder in the history of NFL draft, trading with the Chiefs?
No.
That boy Xavier, he run a 3-1-4.
No. But I thought that the potential biggest issue would have, and I don't necessarily agree with this take. I just feel like nationally and certainly in the moment here that it was questioned was Atlanta selecting Michael Penix when they had just signed Kirk Cousins to like $100 million over the next few years. And specifically, they bring up his age. Now, I'll turn it over to you guys first.
Bring up whose age?
They bring up Penix's age, that he's already 24, so he was one of the older players in the draft. And why select inside of, again, in theory, a lottery pick, a top 8 pick? In this case, he was number 8, when you already addressed your quarterback issue and threw an absurd amount of money. So instead of building around that, when you already have some key pieces, right? Like they address the running back issue, they address the receiver and the tight end for that matter. The quarterback, that could have been a myriad of things. So to even though I love Michael Penix, despite he's not an IU guy anymore, that the general consensus was that it didn't make sense to do that in that position.
Well, Gully, you want to take that, or you want me to?
I agree.
You agree what?
I agree with Double J. Listen, it sounds like they went with the Ozzie Newsome strategy. You can get the best talent available, no matter what.
Okay, so stop right there. Let me ask a question.
Mhm.
If that's, I'm glad you said that, Gully. So then, how can that be a bad thing?
Because when you
The Ozzie
take the
Newsome
best
route.
talent available, when you take all right, in the case of the Ravens doing that when they drafted, was it who was it? Right, Herman Harvey said they drafted Jonathan Ogden, right?
Right.
Is that
Yes.
okay? How much money did they commit to the guy that they're replacing, even though he was a starter?
Well, like $100 million.
No.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm talking about referencing when
with
Jonathan
Ogden.
Ogden did it,
Well,
right?
but wait a
Even
minute.
though you had your starter, right? Even though you had your starter, you didn't commit to building your franchise around said player. Jonathan Ogden was committed, was the obvious choice because he helped of what you were building your team around. He wasn't the centerpiece.
Yeah, what
He
you
included.
mean?
He fulfilled it's a difference. It's a difference in perspective. Kirk Cousins was the guy you say you're going to rebuild this team with. And you go and draft a guy who's at 24 is already, quote unquote, ready to play.
Okay, hold up. You throwing a lot at me right there. Hold on. The Falcons are not rebuilding. If you take a look at their roster, because you sound like you said rebuilding.
No, exactly. They're not rebuilding. So why would you draft a quarterback that's ready to play right now when you just paid for a quarterback who's also ready to play right now? You draft a guy. He's 24.
Okay, but dare I say?
Remember
I
when they considered Chris Winkie old when he came out of Florida, he was 27.
Yeah, but Chris Winkie he might have won the Heisman too. But if you watch Chris Winkie on tape, if you put the tape in, Chris Winkie did not jump off the tape to me like Penix did. Penix did at Indiana and he did at Washington. Chris Winkie. Okay,
and he's, I'll remind you both that he's technically 2 years removed from catastrophic injuries. So not only is it a top 8 pick, not only is he an older player, not only did we also see what the arm could do, which is phenomenal. Again, I told you I'm a fan of his. But you do also have to consider that he did have 2 severe injuries with the ACL.
But wait a minute. Hold on.
I'm not factoring those in, Double J.
Hold on.
I think they got another problem.
Hold on. I'm confused. Before he got drafted by the Falcons, was Penix not in the conversation as like one of the guys who's going to come off the board in terms of quarterbacks early?
Exactly right.
Hold it. I'm not.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yes,
hold
correct.
On. So all of these things that Double J mentioned were not deterrents before he went to Atlanta. Now, because the Falcons picked him where they picked him, now all of these things are like red flags.
No. It's because of the circumstances.
Disagree.
Right. So I'm actually just throwing the myriad of things that have came out as to the why nots in that position, which is you already have not only just signed your franchise quarterback, if you want to call him that, you've dedicated even if you wanted to take him out of the equation, you've dedicated a significant amount of your cap space to that player. And then, as Barbershop has pointed out, despite all the other pieces, or at least many of them already being there, you use a top 8 pick on someone who cannot play. So I'm not really bringing the injuries into account. I'm more so, just serving as a reminder that they were there.
Typically, if you are a quarterback at a NFL prospect at the quarterback position, let me say it that way, and you're picked in the top 10, typically you're going to a team where you're going to start from day one.
That is the idea. And truthfully, I look, if we were to go back the last 20 years, what is surprising to me and what is really surprising, so my personal take on this is that every general pundit's philosophy on this is completely wrong. If you want to look at if you want to use a recency bias as the first reason why, is that look at the amount of quarterback injuries that took place just in the past season, which is, to my understanding, far above and beyond what we had ever seen versus any previous year. So already it was suggesting you needed a quality backup. And we know how little of those actually exist in today's NFL, right? There's a reason that they're a hot commodity. Secondly, yes, you've dedicated a certain amount of money to Kirk Cousins, but he's in his mid-30s. And to my understanding, it's only a 2-year deal. So to say that Michael Penix will come in at age 26 and be ready to start, my theory was, if you look at how many first-round quarterbacks have been busts over the last 24 years, just this millennium, I would actually question how many of the teams that picked before those top 8 or before that 8th pick, how many of those teams will be looking for a quarterback in 2 years when Atlanta has potentially their solution?
Right. See, listen, I meant to save it. There was a breakdown and I saw it on Facebook actually. And that's kind of one of the reasons I'm still kind of messing with it, because every now and again you find a good morsel or a nugget. All right. Things that make you go, Somebody broke down why it made sense for them, the Atlanta, to draft him. And the breakdown was, I was like, okay. I mean, if you go off of whether or not what's being said makes sense, it made sense. So how can you argue with something that makes sense? Now, dare I say, you all already know how I feel about people saying when it comes to NFL and injuries, he injury prone or he can't stay on the field. Trust and believe. I've talked to a few NFL players and they say they can't. I can't use the words that they use, but they hate that type of talk. I listen, one guy, and I ain't even talking about our guy. I'm talking about another guy.
Mm-hmm.
I was having that conversation with, I wish I would have had I did kind of have my recorder, but he was like, man, kind of keep this off the record, so I put it in my pocket type of deal. He's like, look, man. And he was a big dude. And we was chopping it for a minute. And when I had, kind of threw that at him, man, the look in his eyes, I was like, ooh wee, if I could slide on inch away, because I was in the way. He said, man, I cannot stand when people do that. He said, tell the people that say that kind of stuff, come get they off their couch and come on out here and do 2 days in the sun with this equipment on. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Ask a firefighter what it's like going to a fire in July with the self-contained breathing apparatuses and all of that, the big coats and pants and boots and all of that. So just imagine an NFL player. You get what I'm trying to say? May he rest, Corey Stringer and type of guys. You get what I'm saying, for the Vikings and whatever. He said, man, I can't stand when people, every NFL player I talk to, they say they don't like that right there. So I'm just saying all that to say, y'all know how I feel about injuries. I don't like using that term because I know players that played.
Right, same.
But Atlanta has got to be thinking that, this has in their minds, they said, okay, yes, he is worth the money because he can fit right in. We have a team built to win now.
Whoa. But wait, are you referring to the injuries of Cousins or Penix?
Cousins.
Ooh.
Cousins.
Why is that? Okay. And you know what? I'm so glad you did that, because I have yet to hear one person bring that up about him. The fact that I actually stated
settle down
that Michael Penix had gotten hurt 2 years ago, but no one's pointing out the obvious that Kirk Cousins is coming off of the severe injury.
So they know that Kirk Cousins, they looked in the cupboard and they said, man, you know what? We might not have lobster and shrimp, but we got enough here we can make a meal. Okay, we could do some catering off what we got in this cabinet. So who we gonna get to put it together? They said, well, they took a look at the list of all the guys that was out there. And they said, you know what, man, Kirk Cousins ain't bad, man. Folks won't go home. They won't get there at the house and say it was terrible. They'll probably come back, again. So we'll go get him. He'll fit what we have on paper right now. You know, he'll go good with that. They say, but we don't want to be in the same situation as the Browns.
What do you mean? They had a great backup.
No, I'm not talking about Joe. I'm talking about but they had to find Joe Flacco. You get what I'm trying to tell you? They had to find Joe Flacco now. They had to go get him off the couch.
But this is what I meant about the entire league.
But it wouldn't have been no Joe Flacco had it been, you know, we're going to take another break. We're going to come back and keep this going, y'all. Yes, this thing is getting heated now. Y'all can't see me, but I can see what y'all saying. See what I'm saying? We'll be back right quick. We're going to take it on a minute 5 side, baby. Get some of them Eddie G's cookies. Oh, and by the way, why I keep telling people to go to Travel Centers of America because they're not there. Somebody we know that you know that I know, that y'all didn't know, but they told us now we know. Ain't none over there on 270 up there on the CO Lumbar side. We'll let Gully fill it in when we get back. Put it down.
I'm Jordan Gudeman, and I'm the founder and CEO of Eddie G's Cookies. I was first diagnosed with a nut allergy when I was young. At the time, there weren't a lot of labeled items that said if there may contain nuts or there are nuts in the food, so my brother and sister and I baked a lot at home, and we enjoyed treats from mixes and things like that, but I noticed that it was not the same as what my friends were enjoying, and I started making my own recipes. When it was time to pick a career, I decided to start a bakery so I could share my treats with everybody else. When I started creating my recipe, I was taking in all the things that I thought I was missing out on. A soft, chewy center, a crisp outside crust, and a taste that is just like it came out of the oven at a bakery. When I put all those things together, I had come up with a recipe for a dream cookie. Eddie G's Cookies only uses the finest ingredients. We have all natural flavorings, no preservatives, and every cookie is made in a nut-free environment. The best part about Eddie G's Cookies is that they can be delivered right to your door. You can share them or not. We won't tell.
All right, we are back. Get them Eddie G's Cookies. I'm not going to tell y'all to go to Travel Centers of America. You're going to have to go to eddiegscookies.com. It seems that has to be the safest bet if you want to get some cookies. You understand what I'm trying to say? Oh, man, it's unbelievable. Got me out here talking about Travel Centers of America. Gully, did you go? I mean, would you want to give us the rundown of what happened?
Man, I have a normal breakfast routine whenever I travel. And I saw that Travel Centers of America was at my ex. I'm like, okay, we're gonna preempt this. We're gonna do something different. So I went in there. I was looking around, went out to all the different pastry spots and different spots. The other cakes and pies from the other brands, you name them, they got them. By the way, the one brand that used to be $4 for $1, they went $1 each. Now they want to be 2 for $5.50. You understand me? I can tell you what brand that is. Yeah. 2 for $5.50. That's the sale. Remember they used to be $4 for $1, right? You can take a quarter, get 4. Yeah, now they 2 for $5.50. Go figure that. I wanted some Eddie G's cookies. So I asked the lady. I said, "Yeah, I was looking for some Eddie G's cookies." She didn't know what I was talking about. I said, and so I guess maybe it might have been my presentation or the fact that I just kind of like show up and I'm not really from the area. So maybe perhaps they might have thought they was calling the manager. They was calling the manager that was off today. They was looking it up, going online. They was checking their inventories for them. They didn't have them. I'm like, hey man, you got to get these in here. These Eddie G's cookies. Like you can't have this.
So wait, who should we blame?
Listen, I'm gonna go there tomorrow. I'm gonna see if they got them.
Yeah, no, blame that guy.
I'm gonna go there tomorrow.
No. I'm not on the order fulfillment side. I do get. I do get notifications though.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you.
You got any notifications on mine?
Yes, yours are going to be coming soon. Actually, I needed a reminder of the address and then the which
okay,
ones.
It's all good. Yeah, mine's gonna be coming
because
soon,
they were on vacation actually for. Had you gone to the website, you would have seen.
Okay,
it had a thing on there. Yeah.
Well, speaking of vacation, I mean, it'd be sometimes it's folks on this show that be while we live to be on vacation. I'm just saying. Yeah. Okay, but back to the Kirk Cousins right quick. Okay, so I think Atlanta, they were kind of like protecting themselves. They kind of like got the best of both situations, even though both guys.
So
were
they
injured.
think.
Well, wait a minute, bruh. Listen, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question.
So, all right, tell me this. Everything that you're saying, it kind of makes sense, right? Because basically,
What
they're
you mean,
looking at
kinda?
the.
What you mean, kinda?
It kind of makes sense.
Do it
Here's
or
what
don't
I'm
it not?
saying.
Do it does.
No, here.
It
Okay, it
doesn't.
makes sense if you're. It makes sense if you're trading for Justin Fields when you already signed Russell Wilson on a, let's say on a
1 year.
team friendly deal.
Yeah.
Where Russell
Well, wait a
Wilson
minute,
knows.
Russ was already.
Where
Russ,
Russ,
wait a
hold on,
minute. Russ is
pause.
getting
Let me finish.
38 million from
Let me
Denver.
finish that. Let me finish that. Right. Russ got 38 million from Denver. He knows that at this stage of his career, he knows that there's some proving ground. He comes in there on a team-friendly deal, meaning that if the team decides at any point in the season they can ship him out, it's no cost to the Steelers. Okay, I guarantee you this: when they were talking to Kirk Cousins, I guarantee you this: their idea of perhaps drafting a quarterback in the draft did not come across in that deal. The negotiations did it.
Probably not, but I'll tell you what.
Okay, then. So if it didn't, and you're making all of these handsome, attractive overtures to your franchise quarterback to be Kirk Cousins, you're not going to mention the fact that you may draft another quarterback at 8. Why isn't?
Listen, I'll tell you what, and I don't know this for certain. None of us know what's what for certain. We're just speculating. But here's some speculativeness to this for you right here.
Yes.
Not bet you. Just picture this scenario. Let's say the Falcons didn't have no intentions on drafting a quarterback, and they was rolling with Kirk Cousins. All right, it's all good. But when the draft started playing itself out, and they seen that this dude was available, yeah, you're gonna switch gears too. Yeah, it was a surprise. Just like most people are surprised that the Falcons took this guy at 8. But bruh, how many times have we? That's why I got to get Herm on here. We're gonna get Herm on here this next go round because he can tell y'all some of the stuff. This is why I come forth with having had conversations with guys, because from a outside looking in, which was what most fans are when they turn the TV on, is a whole lot different than when you're in it, so to speak. Having a conversation with guys that was in it and listening to these guys talk about how Ozzie operated and the things that were being discussed with players and so on and so forth, it gives you a different perspective. They probably had Penix like everybody else did on their boards. Okay. And here's the killer part to give you some idea. Andrew Berry, the Browns GM. Do you know that they still put together a board, even though they didn't have no picks in the first round, they still put together a board as if though they did?
Yeah.
These are the things GMs do.
They still had picks, right?
Exactly. You still have. So in other words, they, like most teams, had Penix somewhere on the board. But it was just on there just for the sake of. But when the thing started shaking out, and they said, wait a minute, we could get this guy. I'm getting him, regardless of what I just spent. Okay, this might be a bad parable, but I have a tough time finding the right shoes to wear at the job due to my knee surgeries and so on and so forth.
You gotta go get them sugar shoes, man.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Wait a minute, hold up there. Wait a minute, hold up.
Oh, hell no.
No, I don't know what that's.
You gotta get them joints. Them joints with the soft. You got to get the soft brown leather that has the Velcro on them.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Well, explain yourself, Buster Brown. I'm just saying going down. I'm just trying to tell you ain't gonna see no pink never. You try to get me there, little Kim Wasabi. Ain't finna happen. What I'm saying is, if I find a pair that's good and I get one, I'm going, even if I'm going to get another, I'm going to get 2 or 3 pairs, even if I don't never wear the other 2. You get what I'm trying to say here?
Certainly do. I'm saying that.
Hey, man, if you cannot, how many teams do we know who have passed on generational talent, so to speak, now, and have regretted it? Man, you don't pass on that dude. Listen, I'd rather have him than not have him, and then figure out if I'm gonna maybe trade him or do something else with him. Maybe they might trade him to a team that need a quarterback, and then do like the Falcons could end up being like the OKC Thunder of the NBA. They end up with 2,700 draft picks for the next 15 years off of Michael Penix.
Well, that's a very valid point that
who knows?
None of us have really taken into consideration, right? Because when he's yours, and then you control, like if
I control the board.
And I would say this, the Green Bay Packers, it looks like the move that they made with Jordan Love has paid off. And
I hate to admit it, but yeah.
Right. So
and how long did he sit?
That's kind of my point here. But now when comparing and contrasting the two, Love sat where he was younger, right? By, again, albeit 2 years, but basically the case that they're making is that for some reason a 26-year-old quarterback becoming the starter is somehow bad. When what I disagree with is typically the general philosophy when you have a rookie quarterback is to compete by year 2 and then win by year 3, because at that point of the rookie contract, you can still surround him. Look at what Brock Purdy. That's despite the 7th round pick, we're talking kind of about maybe somewhere between $7 to $10 million difference, but a far cry from some of the numbers that we looked at a few shows ago with where the average quarterback salaries are.
Yeah, but Brock Purdy's a little bit different story though, just on the strength of who he went with. Ain't nobody on that Falcons coaching staff going to outcoach Mike Shanahan. Oh, I'm just saying you could take a Brock Purdy if you give me Mike Shanahan. I mean Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle. But again, the pieces around him are all paid, right? Every single one of them. McCaffrey's paid, the Debo's paid, the defensive side.
Ayuk is not, I don't think.
No, and then that's the problem they have, but they're trying to figure that out.
Okay.
But again, so the general philosophy that many franchises are going with is trying to get as it pertains to a rookie quarterback specifically, is that year 3 is where they're supposed to make a significant run. That still remains in place as this were to progress. So you don't run the risk of being able to move on from Kirk Cousins or not, right? Let's just say the 2 years goes by and you're like, okay, this was either great, or even if it was a disaster, now you can have that person step right in. He understands the system, and we've talked about fit in the role that it plays with quarterbacks. Look at Baker Mayfield. Then why wouldn't you say at that point we can add another piece? Or if you're going to stick with Cousins and it comes to a contract renewal time, as I stated earlier, that the value in a quality backup and potentially the desperation of a different team, because you are going to get some opportunities to see him despite what, some of the philosophical or schedule changes that we'll discuss later are proposed. You will have at least some limited film on the kid. On top of that, somehow, that rumor mill, right? That he's the real deal or whatever it may be. And so you could absolutely haul a king's ransom at that point for him, should you have to offload him. But I think the only downside that Gully's pointing out is you have a bunch of pieces. You could have, in theory, either moved back in the draft and got something, right? At that point, that would have been an immediate starter. That if they fall short, because you unfortunately can't play 2 quarterbacks at the same time unless they're like a Josh McCown that you're going to line up at receiver. And that wasn't really the best of ideas, right?
But here, let me say this. First off, this ain't the same old NFL. Remember, quarterbacks in the NFL now, due to all of the offensive rule changes, they're playing to their 100. Now, I'm not saying Penix will be no Tom Brady. Yeah, man, Tom Brady was 59,000 years old. My gosh. And he still got his wits about him.
But I just pointed out how many injuries there were to the quarterback position.
Okay, but our quarterback, NFL quarterbacks playing longer now than they did when Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White was roaming the field?
I don't, it's hard to say.
Yeah, okay.
It's hard to say.
Man, Peyton Manning, the only reason Peyton Manning ain't still playing is because his arm got neutralized. Same thing with Ben Roethlisberger. Trust and believe. Listen. But,
so the mid-30s?
But what I'm telling you is the rules make it such that taking Penix at 29,000, he still could get 7, 8, 9 years out of the guy because of where the NFL is at now in terms of that position. You can't touch quarterbacks now.
Especially if they're not playing.
Okay, well, oh wow, really? Oh wow, my gosh. Okay.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Really? Okay. But what I don't like is the double talk. Okay, and they're not from you or Gully. Prior to this draft, we all know the NFL draft is quarterback driven, like the league, right?
Yeah.
Prior to this draft, what Double J is saying and what you're saying, Gully, I heard after the fact. But prior to the draft, what did they say about Penix? Not one talking head said anything detrimental, if you would, or dismissive about his age, they all talked glowingly about all of the prospects that were coming out. Daniels, Caleb, Fingernail Man, whatever. I'm just saying, okay, right, my bad, slippage. All of the quarterbacks coming out of the draft. Now, all of a sudden, Atlanta takes him at 8. Now, here we go. This sounds just like the Doug Gottliebs and the Jay Billises, with all due respect to him, when Steph Curry made his run in Davidson, and now it's time for him to go in the draft. All of a sudden, oh, he can't this, and he can't that, and he can't this. But anybody else that had that kind of tournament run, y'all singing their praises. I'm confused by the double talk. If what you said about Penix prior to the draft is what it's supposed to be, then like I always tell folks, if you're going to stand. If you're going to sit, but do not waver. Then after the draft, no matter who he went to, them sentiments should be the same. In my opinion, it's a win-win for Atlanta. Similar to what the Steelers got. Except I believe the Falcons got a little bit more with Kirk Cousins than do the Steelers got with Russ Wilson. Yeah, but who knows? But I think that the Atlanta kind of looked over there and said, ooh, y'all see what they just did? They prepare for now and tomorrow. Listen, how can the Falcons lose? You got Kirk Cousins, who can fit with whatever else you got on the roster right now offensively. Bijan Robinson and the tight end, I forget, that played at Florida a couple years ago, whatnot. And then if you need to, the Falcons could essentially do the same thing with Penix that the Seahawks did with Matt Flynn and Russ Wilson. Remember, the Seahawks paid Matt Flynn off one game in Green Bay, what, $14 million? 10, 14, somewhere around in there. And how many games did Matt Flynn play for the Seahawks?
I think it was about 5.
Oh, I don't even remember that many. I don't remember that. I just know when the Seahawks got Russ in the camp that year, they said, hey, you know what, Matt? We appreciate your services. See you. Now, I get it. 14 ain't whatever Kirk got or whatnot. But listen, you just never know until you get the guy. That's why you don't pass up on the guy. And that was told to me by every NFL player I talked to. They said, man, listen, that's what makes the good GMs, that's what makes them great GMs. They get the best available, period. And we'll figure out the rest. What else would you? That's what you want your team to do, right? Take the best available. Because not always drafting for need is going to work out either. Hello? Okay. We still there?
Yeah.
We still there? I'm just saying, bro. I think it's a win-win for Atlanta, bro.
All right. Just seeing how Kirk Cousins can adapt to it. Because understand, organizationally, I agree. I do see, even if I don't fully agree, I do see the benefit of it and what the upside is.
Gully, be honest here. What would you have done? Would you have drafted I can already tell. It's just a matter of what you would have done. Would you have traded bet down, maybe secured another first round pick, or at least an additional second round, and still got someone maybe in the top 15?
Yeah, he would not have had the jersey for too long. That would have been short.
Wait. Throw that scenario at him again. Yeah, because whoa. Throw that at him again.
Trading. Yeah, trading, like drafting Penix and then trading him that same night.
Well, I was just suggesting maybe trading the pick itself, or keeping it and selecting someone else. But the struggle with this, right, is they were really in this unique position where I think Barbershop, your point, where the point you made earlier, that maybe they weren't expecting him to still be there at 8.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't think that they were expecting him to be there. He was on their board just for the sake of being on the board. You get what I'm trying to say? As a formality. And then when this thing started playing out, they were like, whoa. Bob. They were on. Hello. Is anybody home? Bill.
So,
hey.
So I'm going to go through.
It was red sirens going off in the, you know what I'm saying? Like a tornado, something's in town. Yeah.
So just for a quick reminder, right? Because there was a huge gap shortly after that pick was made, because you had Caleb Williams go first. You had Jaden Daniels go second. Drake May third. Malik Neighbors went 6th. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Neighbors went to the Titans, didn't he?
No, he went to the Giants, but that was still receiver. I'm thinking quarterbacks. So, no, again, here's where, so those first two, of course, quarterbacks, but then you get wide receiver, offensive tackle, wide receiver, offensive tackle. You wouldn't see the next two quarterbacks being McCarthy and Bo Nix go until the 12th pick. If after that, you don't see another quarterback off the board until I believe the 4th round.
Well, let's face it, though. All of the names that we mentioned, how many quarterbacks in this year's draft, how many of them, how many were, oh boy, okay, y'all just finish the show. I'm done. How many?
How many does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? Let's find out.
Okay,
1,
yeah, right.
2,
yeah.
3.
How many quarterbacks were there projected to be what there was to be in this draft? In other words, it probably was only 6 quarterbacks total. It was more obviously, but I'm talking about it was on everybody's radar. How many was it?
Yeah, it was those 6. Absolutely.
Okay, so then there you have it.
The line, believe it or not, at least on Monday night, the line was 4 by the first 15.
Oh yeah, I don't go by that.
No, but you should, because again, if Vegas was thinking that would there be more than 4 taken by the 15th pick, that kind of gives they weren't pulling that out of thin air, and I don't believe it was just limited to historical
Okay, well,
data.
let me say this to you then. Speaking of Vegas, last night, with 28 seconds left, the New York Knicks in Vegas gave the New York Knicks a 95.4% chance of winning that game. Okay, what happened?
No.
I'm just saying. Yeah, I know what Vegas is talking about.
I naturally saw that as an over. It was an easy over.
Oh, yeah, okay. The guys in the room said, listen, they were not expecting him or to even be in range of getting him. Yeah, they had an eye on him over here. And then when it started to play itself out, they said, wait a minute. You can never have too many. And if you can never have too many franchise quarterbacks, or at least potentials, one you know of and one that was projected to be.
Yes, you can.
What you mean? You can never.
Joe Montana, Steve Young.
Dag nabbit, I can't stand you. You know what? You know what I'm saying? This I was on a roll. You know what I'm saying? Here you come.
Nailed it.
But no,
Yeah.
actually, no. Actually, you know what?
Don't
You still on the road.
no. Don't try to clean it up. Yeah, please get on out of
You're
here.
right, though. You're right, because wait a minute.
Oh, now I'm right.
Joe Montana set, Steve Young set maybe 2 seasons.
Yeah, and he didn't like it either.
No, he didn't like it.
Yeah, but you know what, though? And I'll say this. Steve Young, at that juncture in his career, he was not a rookie, though.
Yeah, right.
He had already been with the Tampa Bay Buccaneer Creamsicles.
Yeah, the creamsicle guy.
Yeah, the Creamsicle Nears at that time anyway. So, yeah, so he had already had a taste of the NFL and wanted to be a star. But Steve Young was driven, though, anyway. You know what I mean? You know, Steve Young was a different type of dude. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I ain't mad at the Falcons. I think they got a win-win. You know?
Yeah, they better win.
Because guess what, though? And we all know, due to the nature of the NFL, this is what we're getting ready to discuss here in a few more clicks. You know, the violence of the game. I don't care how many changes you make to the game. Unless you can make that change, then all the changes you make are going to be, you know, window dressing. Okay? Starting with the man. Oh, please. I can't wait to do some editing. Oh, please. Okay. I'm finna mute your mic. We're losing viewers. Could you spare me, please? We're losing viewers. The number was at 30. Now it's down to 3. Oh my gosh.
Make the change.
All right. Let me get a mute right here. How about that? Are you done? All right, we're not about to keep using the program for your personal platform. Oh, wow. Mrs. Alva, now she wants to weigh in. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's what I said, too. Oh, wow. Yeah, anywho.
Is the NFL done making a change? Make that change. You heard what Mike said. Make the change.
Who knows? Who cares? I think the Falcons, they truly indeed they got the best of both worlds. Because I can't say barring, but forbid injury occurs, they got a good backup. You see what the Browns was going through before they found Joe Flacco. You don't think they regretted letting Josh Dobbs and Jacoby Brissett? Yeah, or Michael Brisket. I don't know. Johnny Bass.
Hey man, I could go for some brisket right now. That'd be really good.
Anyway, oh my gosh. Anywho, but I like to see what the Falcons gonna do. I think they did a good thing. Win-win. You can never have enough franchise quarterbacks, quote unquote. All right, let's keep things rolling. It's more draft talk actually. Which team's selections have the best chance of making an impact from day one?
I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears.
Oh, wow. I mean, whoa. I didn't see that coming. Unbelievable.
Why the Bears?
I actually wasn't going to talk about the quarterback. I was going to bring up Marvin Harrison Jr. That him playing in the number 2 receiver role is actually the best possible scenario, because if you look at most of his tape at Ohio State, that's where he was. And having, again, the veteran presence of guys like, DJ Moore, it's going to be really interesting. They're going to have basically Caleb Williams isn't going to have any excuses other than the offensive line, of course.
He sure ain't. None whatsoever. You ain't no excuses. I just can't understand why the Bears made all these skill moves in which should have just kept Justin Fields.
I completely agree with you.
And you could have used that number 1 pick. You probably could have got Marvin Harrison Jr. and Neighbors and Ezekiel Elliott 2.0, whoever
what
that
they
is.
Should have done is to your point is to trade out. You could have had, I would have said Harrison still, and then you would have grabbed Brock Bowers.
Oh,
yeah, that would have been just absolutely filthy.
And then you probably could have down the line got you Bo Nix or somebody like that, or whatever the case may be. Because no offense. You know what? We're gonna take another break right quick, y'all. We come right back. Ooh, it's really getting good. Don't you touch it.
SK Cunningham, and you watching the Shop Report. I'm Harvey Diallo, and you watching the Shop Report. My name's Chris Murray, and you're watching the Shop Report. You're Jay Knight, you're watching the Shop Report. Braxton Key, you're dropping in on the Shop Report.
Barbershop Jay, Quentin Hines, Super Bowl champion. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm on.
Hi, I'm Morris Edwards from Mercury Stadium, and you're watching the Shock Report.
Hey, I'm Billy Butler, and thank you for watching the Shop Report. Hey guys, I'm Les Norman, former Kansas City Royal, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Commander Brown, Detroit Rivers Mountain Training, and I'm watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doug Flynn of the New York Mets. Well, a few other teams, of course, too. And you're watching the Shop Report.
I'm Matt Ramos, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? I'm Rajay Davis, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? This is Nelson Figueroa, former Major League pitcher with a lot of teams. You're about to listen to the Shop Report.
All right, we are back. Hey, okay, never mind. I'll come to this in just a few seconds, but go ahead. Which team selections have the best chance of making an impact day one?
We still
You
sticking
say the
with me?
Bears. Yeah, no, you say the Bears. Gully, who'd you say?
Man,
Exactly.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. Because this draft was hyped, but hollow. Does that make any sense? Once I got to going through most of the selections in the second and third rounds or whatever, I was like, okay, a lot of these guys, I'm not. But I do like Quinion Mitchell, the Eagles. Okay. I'm just saying. But other than that, I was like, I was hard pressed to find like, okay, again, other than the ones that was like highly talked about, I really didn't see much there. So it's really a wait and see, for me. But I will say this though, right quick. I want to go back. I asked this question: did the Bills make the biggest draft day blunder in NFL draft history, trading with the Chiefs? And here's why I'm asking that. Let me read you a little something. This is Sports Illustrated, not one of my favorite sources, but we'll use it for this case. They call it a head-scratching draft night trade. The Bills pulled off a head-scratching draft night trade with the AFC rival Kansas City Chiefs. So if you don't think that what they did, the Bills and Chiefs, and the moves was head-scratching, but you think the Falcons' move is a head-scratcher?
You asking me?
I'm just saying in general. If you all want to take it rhetorically, that's fine with me. You understand me? I'll see you on 77 somewhere down.
Is it because what makes it head scratching? Is it the fact that on general principle they traded with one another, or did the Bills?
No, Gully, you're forgetting 8 years ago they made a trade that ultimately landed KC Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. So I'm just wondering, how is it that we see the Falcons move as hair scratching, but we don't see what the Bills and Chiefs just did, and especially
run through the trade though, man, because I understand that like hindsight is 2020. Like, yes, that happened. How many teams? Yeah, so run through what this edition of the Bills head scratching trade with the Chiefs. What did that include?
Okay, the Bills, and the Chiefs, obviously. The Bills swapped first rounders with Kansas City, dropping back to number 32 overall and allowing the Super Bowl champions to move up to the number 28 slot. The Chiefs used the pick on Texas receiver Xavier Worthy. Are you all familiar with Xavier Worthy?
Whoa. Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, of course I am. But something else that needs to be taken into consideration is obviously you had one of the Chiefs receivers get in a little bit of legal trouble. So if you remember, part of if the Chiefs had any deficiency, it was at that particular skill position. If you remember, Kadarius Toney was nearly costing them half if not more. It seemed single-handedly was costing them their games.
Yeah, but Rasheed Rice balled out. What is
correct? One of them did, but who just got into that car accident / legal trouble? Wasn't it Rasheed Rice?
Okay. But what? Okay. I'm all right. That's all fair. All I'm saying is, if you're the Buffalo Bills, okay, and Diggs just left, and you just lost a close game in less than this many seconds to them 10 minutes ago, they are lightweight, your nemesis. Whenever we turn the TV on during NFL season, they don't talk about nobody else but Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. If you're Josh Allen and you know that you really ain't had a running game and you trying to get over that hump, you do not give you do not give the Chiefs another Tyreek Hill, potentially. Man, this dude Xavier ran a 4-1-1-1-1-1-1 in the 10-yard dash. Talk about the flash. Man, kiss my... Oh, you know, I'm not even about to say it. I'm not even about to say it. You don't do that. If you're the Bills, you want to talk about head scratcher? That's why I wrote this first. That's a head scratcher. You don't do that if you're the Bills. You don't do that. You don't give Patrick Mahomes, bro. You don't, bro. Oh, you give him your lunch money and then ask him to buy you lunch?
Well, right. Again, the fact of the matter is he played they called us, and so we listened. Kind of no different than like if they had called Billy Bean, the Yankees called Billy Bean and he traded with him. And but they're not your nemesis, and under those circumstances at least. But the fact is that trade made Kansas City better.
That was no question. And if you don't mind, right quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, but just let me read this little snippet and then read a few of the Twitter responses after the fact. It is slightly surprising that Buffalo would allow Kansas City to move up and pick its preferred player. The Chiefs have been responsible for eliminating the Bills from the postseason in 3 of the last 4 years, including a 27-24 decision in the division in the divisional round this past January. Social media user Dave Kludge, Kludge, if I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, forgive me for butchering. And others summed up the disappointment running throughout Bills Mafia. He says, I feel bad for Bills fans. This is from Twitter, obviously, or X. Almost every fan expected the team to trade up for a wide receiver tonight. Instead, they traded back and gift-wrapped Xavier Worthy to their biggest foe. Kylie Winfrey, she says, feels like this trade will come back to haunt the Bills. Adam Shine, Chiefs get the fastest receiver in the draft, and it's in trade up with Bills. You can't make this up. So we talking about head scratchers? I'm in agreement with everybody, and I don't even know who half these people are that I just read from, but it's what they say that makes sense. I told y'all, if it makes sense, then that's all I'm trying to do is make $1 out of 15 cents. That's all. That's it. It don't make no sense, man. The Bills just, listen, to me, like boxing, the Bills have given themselves another black eye. They further added to their own demise. Any agreements or disagreements? You tell me. Tell me, Gully, you got a disagreement?
Nah, I can't say I find it hard to disagree with that. I get it now.
Oh, wow. What?
I get it now. Yeah. You see, understand. Listen, all I said a few years ago was that they was on the rise.
When you start agreeing with me. That's what I'm talking about.
Since the third Tuesday of the decade, of the first Monday after the first 70-degree day in the decade.
Okay. All right. Double J, can you throw that up for me, please? We're getting ready to discuss that as well. Okay. So I'm just saying at the end of the day, is that more of a head scratcher, what the Chiefs and Bills did? Is that more of a head scratcher than is what the Falcons did? I don't think that's the one, Double J.
Yeah, I think it. I still think the Falcons. I mean, we talked it out, but prior to the show, if you ask me, we talked it out. The Falcons still is a bit more puzzling. The Bills they'll have the excuse of, hey, listen, sometimes we got to go to strange depths to get better. Even though,
but the Falcons. So did the Falcons do the same thing? Did they go to strange depths to get better?
No, but we talked that out. So to me, it's just peculiar. I think my point is to sign Kirk Cousins at such a hefty price tag, then to draft a quarterback, albeit for the right reasons, it already creates for a contentious quarterback room. Because that's what I mean. It
Well,
creates
if you're
for
a
one.
rookie though, you know your place already
No,
lightweight in the
but that's
NFL.
what I'm saying. But see,
Uh-huh.
if you're a rookie, you know that they're really telling you, hey, you gonna be the guy sooner rather than later. To me,
Maybe.
all
I don't know.
all
I
this
don't.
money you put in, all the money you put into Kirk Cousins, but then you still draft me? Like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's as contentious as it was with, like you mentioned earlier, Joe Montana and Steve Young. Montana had already been established as a 49ers guy, but at the same time, Steve Young had already been established in the NFL. So, I mean, I can see the contentiousness there, and it's been well documented, too, if you check out any of the documentaries on them 49er teams. But Joe was Joe. He was Joe Cool the whole way. But I'm just saying, man, I think that the Bills-Chiefs deal was more – if you're the Buffalo Bills and you're trying to supplant the Chiefs in the AFC in the conference, doing this right now, you might not even, especially with the Dolphins and the Jets, and who else is in the AFC East over there? Dolphins, the Patriots, man, we don't got to really worry about them no more, really. You know, what goes up must come down. Can't stay on top forever. We get it. But the Jets and the Dolphins, and you the Bills, and you doing that? Oh, man. Okay. If nothing else, you draft him to maybe replace Stephon Diggs. Listen. The Chiefs did what the Bills should have done. The Bills lost Stephon Diggs, and the Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill and Rashid Rice possibly. And they said, you know what? Okay, yeah, that's what you finna do? Okay. All right. And you give us the fastest player at the combine. Now, I'm not big on combine stats and all that, but I mean, my goodness. If a guy is fast, he's fast. Now, the question of course, is, do he got hands? All right. And he got all of that, but he got speed. You can put him on punt returns or something. I'm just saying. But anyway, we're going to keep things rolling right along. Yeah, I think what the Chiefs and Bills did was more of a hair scratcher than was what Atlanta did in drafting Penix. Anywho, Guardian caps. Are you familiar with the Guardian caps? Anybody?
I'm familiar with the Guardians.
No, I'm talking about the caps.
They're the best team in baseball right now.
Not the hats. By the way, just want to let everybody know this out there on the viewership side. Next Wednesday, God willing, we get to see it all. There will be, our segment will be No Sports Intended. We will be discussing Ohio bill seeks to stop property tax. That's one of the things. I think that's what we're going to discuss. I'm not sure just yet, but I will say this. We will be discussing 150 artists that are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I came upon this by way of just found out that who just got elected to the
Tribe Called Quest.
Yes, thank you, Double J. Tribe Called Quest. Well, why you say it like you had Rice Krispies or something?
Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
He gave us he almost sounded like he gave us the government name.
Yeah, really, right? Yeah, just a couple clicks ago, I saw that Tribe Called Quest just got inducted. And I was like, what happened? What, where, and when? I got to looking up some stuff, and I said, oh, man, I come across this list of 150 artists. It's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should be the Rock and Roll Hall of Shame. Wait till we read this list to y'all. This is unbelievable. But anyway, back to the football side. Guardian caps. Okay. Check this out. And this is how I know if the NFL goes to this. Oh, I didn't mean to have no profanity up there. Anyway, the NFL announced that players will be allowed to wear Guardian caps during games this season. Boy, I didn't see the profanitizing there right there. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if the NFL does, okay, they already allowing it. Should this happen, could we add a few, 3 or 4 more years maybe on the Penix's career, Double J?
Potentially. I mean,
okay, well, so the Falcons did a good thing. Maybe the Falcons knew ahead of time that this was getting ready to be a thing, and they said, let's get him. I'm just saying. No?
Yeah. Yeah, people don't like it. I don't understand, man. A lot of these injuries have come from leading in with the head, turning your head and your helmet into a missile, into a cannonball.
Yeah, well, listen. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10. Technique is not being taught like it once was. Let's make that clear. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This right here ain't gonna make that much of a difference. I get the whole idea of a CTE and all of that. You know, I think this is as a result of the result, excuse me, of the lawsuits, the CTE lawsuits.
Well, hold on. What is you saying?
What I'm saying to you is, where have they shown, even though they are allowing these guardian caps, they call it, to be worn during games now, right?
Right.
Where's the data that shows us that these guardian caps really are a deterrent to CTE? As if, you know, like, okay, so let's say before CTE, or, you know, before these guardian caps, excuse me, CTE cases were up 70% or something. I don't know. And as a result, these guardian caps, they're down to 48%. Okay.
CTE you don't find out until after you expire.
Okay.
So the
Well, I
idea
don't
of it
know.
is you have other, you have the concussions and other head injuries that develop into a prolonged history of brain injury, that the deformity, the malformity that is CTE comes about. So you can't prevent CTE simply by putting the guardian caps, because you don't find out. But you're trying to reduce risk of concussions and other significant head injuries. The question is, I think in a practical sense, how much impact are these absorbing? Where's the data that says that there is a reduction? Like, where's the impact testing
Right. Exactly.
on these? Or to your point, is it a cosmetic fix? Is it, all of a sudden Juneteenth become a holiday?
Yeah, right. That's a good one. Yeah, shout out to that. Yeah, are you paying lip service?
Right.
Placating. Okay.
Well, I mean, right now the data says that only by wearing it will absorb 11 to 12% of the force. So if a player's wearing a cap and have helmet to helmet hit, the force of the impact is reduced by about 20%.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying to you. If it's about head injuries, then you need to take collisions out of the game and make it like you do the Pro Bowl. Make it a flag football game. Because here's the deal. Not necessarily is it always head to knee or head to head, the contact, the head directly hitting something that can cause the concussion.
Okay.
The body being hit a certain way can cause the head and neck it can jar it.
Right.
Which could lead to a concussion. And I've been in a couple.
Right, but you saw the profanity laced in the comment above this even being permitted. Is that look at the response from the fan base? They don't care about the general well-being of the individual.
Well, listen, and neither does the NFL, is my point. They
really?
They don't. Man, stop. No, they don't. This is okay. Yeah, we're doing this to guarding. That's why I said, where's the data? If you're not going to tell me that these things cause a significant reduction, not 11%, that ain't nothing. That's like 1% of a billion to me. Okay. I need to see some severe double digits. Because as long as you...
but what would happen to the product itself, right? It would pretty much cease to exist at that point.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
That's the exchange.
Let me ask you this. Do people still get severely injured? In some cases, catastrophic, if you would, fatally, even with seat belts?
Yeah.
Right, but we're not talking about, in your case, as you mentioned, you're talking about taking that out of the game altogether, right?
No, I'm talking about collisions, not contact, collisions. The NFL is
you
still
wouldn't really have that if you were going to be playing flag football.
Exactly.
Right, but I'm suggesting the majority of folks would not, you wouldn't even need the stadiums anymore at that point.
That's fine. We can play at the park. And it'll be a lot more affordable for me, the fan. I could bring my own water. and not have to pay $12,000 for a 20-ounce bottle I can get at Walmart for 10 anyway.
Right, but again,
okay.
but then you would lose the players themselves because they're not going to play for
I
the
know,
love of the game. I guess you'd call it.
I know. Well, you did. Well,
So
maybe
it's
not.
a double-edged sword. Look, when I
What
talk to players, they understood this is what I signed up for.
Of
And
course.
unfortunately, that meant that it was really one of the saddest things I've ever seen. Because in theory, you already are living for that next generation. If you want to kind of put it into that context, you're trying to set them up better just on from that line of thought. And at the same time, this is, as we've acknowledged, it's the closest thing to the modern. This is the modern form of gladiators that we have.
That's
than
what I'm
maybe
saying. A
professional
guardian
boxing and UFC.
So what is a guardian cap going to do to guard against gladiator sport?
But again, this is where no different than a stunt double having to. They don't have any helmets for that either, to my knowledge. So
yeah, but a stunt double. Wait, but the difference between a stunt double and a guardian cap is the fact that it's another person entirely doing the dirty work. The star ain't touching nothing.
Right, but again, so you almost have to choose which do you prefer. Do you take it out of the game itself and then you lose the very game that you had because it's no longer the same, and therefore you lose everything else that comes with it, which I don't believe they will ever do. Or
so does the guardian cap guard against collisions?
No, it's not intended to.
Okay, but it's intended to guard against traumatic head injuries, right? But you can still have a traumatic head. Okay, you can still have a traumatic head injury based on the simple fact that you still have collisions. If the NFL really cared about the player, then then teach better tackling methods or whatnot.
Yeah,
and they have, right?
No,
They've eliminated. Look. As much as people have griped, right? You can't launch, right? They call it targeting now.
That's not teaching better technique, though.
Well, that's all part of the development. Remember, the NFL itself is a product, right? They're not the NCAA. They're not the high schools. They're not responsible for any of that.
Okay, but they can mandate everything else.
But that's mandate
the coaches teach tackling
in a product.
Well, they should mandate the coaches teach tackling in a way that can help to eliminate the.
That's why they took tackling out until they're 13 years old.
Oh, that don't. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, yeah, well, now we got guardian caps. I'm just saying.
Well, and that's why I think all of us understand that we're heading towards what you just acknowledged, which is flag football, because you're not going to be able to completely solve this issue. It's just, and it's terrible. It's unfortunate. Obviously, I've watched the movie Concussion. We watched that all play out in real life, and having having some great opportunities because of people who have went and did exactly that for a career, and just hearing kind of what their own personal, philosophies were on that. Because again, at the time, it was brand new, right? That was when the doctor was really kind of challenging the NFL. And so where do we go, right? I recall there were 4 or 5 different designs that were originally proposed, and to my understanding, there's still more. So this is the first that they're at least allowing. And typically what occurs is that now that you've opened this door, there should be other alternatives that come with it.
Yeah, you know what they should do? Okay. I'm not, excuse me. I'm not against the guardian cap per se. But if you're going to do that in an attempt to prevent severe head injuries, okay, kudos to you for somebody coming up with the idea. But put it inside of the helmet. Figure out a way to condense it or make it so where it can be worn on the inside of the helmet. I'd rather something like that I'd rather have more cushion closer to my head than on top of the helmet. Sort of like the Hans device for auto racing. What are you going to do? Put the Hans device on the outside of the hood of the car? Or do you put it around the driver's neck and body and such? Come on now.
I get you.
Help me out. Yeah. You see what I'm trying to say? If you're going to do something like this, then put it closer to the player's body.
So what this has said is that in the 2022 preseason, they mandated the Guardian cap for offensive, defense, and defensive linemen, tight ends, and linebackers, and it resulted in a 52% reduction in concussions during that mandated time.
Okay, there we go. Now that's a bigger number than 20%.
Well, they're talking about the force itself, but now the more that wear it, it's almost the more the merrier. So there's certain positions that they're recognizing that are that are more prone to concussions.
Okay, so again, this might be a bad parable, but I'm gonna draw it here. Do you put airbags on the outside of the door or inside?
But there's already padding on the inside.
Yeah, but the Guardian cap is extra padding.
So you want them to wear like a gigantic helmet?
Well, look at the Guardian cap. If it ain't gigantic,
so they're gonna look like Megamind. He want them out there looking like Megamind.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No.
All right. So this is the Rowan.
Like,
this is the Rowan
Megamind versus Megamind versus Mars Attacks versus Jimmy Neutron.
That was a good movie, by the way.
Man.
But anyway, so this is the Rowan and Martin hour. Is that this portion of the P program? Okay, I got you. I didn't know where we was going with that. Double J, can you give me the 18 game schedule? I'm just saying, if you're gonna make a Guardian cap, guard the cranium. How about make a cranium cap? I'm just saying. Okay. Anywho, we're gonna keep things rolling before we can get on out of here at the 145 mark. I got things to do, people to see, food to eat. Anywho, in addition to the Guardian cap, this is what the NFL then came up with. Roger Goodell just said on McAfee just a couple days ago, according to Warren Sharp. I thought it said Warren Sapp at first, even with my glasses on. Boy, I tell you, he ideally wants to go to the following schedule: 2 preseason games, 18 regular season games, calendar extended by 1 week, and Super Bowls. What does that say there, Double J? Boy, I can't read that last part there.
Super Bowl Sunday to be on President's Day weekend.
Okay. What do you all say to that? Are you in agreement? Disagreement?
Man, that's just the season out forever. But the idea that the Super Bowl will become virtually a holiday itself, that's not bad at all. You can really dive in and enjoy that game, knowing that you ain't got to work. Knowing, that for the most part, it's a holiday attached to it on the other side of it. It's a part of our culture. So to put it on the day where you don't have to work the next day, that's pretty cool. Had that extra 3-day weekend. Man, stretching the season out that far. That's gonna be the rough part.
Bruh, no, it ain't, because don't nobody watch baseball, unfortunately, to the playoffs. I'm just saying.
But I'm just saying they stretching the season out that far. You got so. What
do you mean stretching it out that far? They're removing a preseason game they would have already been playing anyway.
Bro, the game is the 2nd week of February. President's Day is no sooner than the 3rd.
Right. So
probably the 4th week of February.
Yeah, so you're talking about an additional week, because remember, there's a week off for the media.
That game will end up in March.
Really?
I'm telling you, man, I remember as a kid, the Super Bowl was in January. What happened to that?
Yeah.
Right, but it was a 14-week season.
No, bro. In the 16-week season, the Super Bowl was always like last weekend of January, the 25th through the 28th or 29th. It
was only a week. It was only a week between the championship games and the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
No, they still had the 2 weeks.
Did they?
They still had the 2 weeks. And in some cases, like at the turn of the century, that's when they tested the 1 week. That's when they tested the 1 week layover. I think the Super Bowl Rams versus Titans. I think that Super Bowl actually happened only a week after the conference championship. But still, the game was in January, end of January. It moved to February, first weekend of February. Now it's like the second weekend of February. It's darn near Valentine's Day. When you have it, now you're gonna move it to I'm telling you, that game gonna be in March.
Okay, well, what's
what's wrong with that is the idea of it is when it starts to become like baseball, right? The fatigue about it is baseball is such a long season with so much, let's say, non-essential activity, right? They play 162 games. If they shorten the season by 25, people won't even miss it, and then everything would be more relevant, right?
So wait. Football, so you're saying basically you in favor of this, basically?
While I want to be talking about football, NFL football, at a meaningful time. Like we hype
Why
up the
wouldn't
draft.
it be meaningful in March though? What else is on the March Madness? Okay.
Yeah, so it's March Madness, right?
Man,
yeah, but that doesn't start till the end of March.
Listen, what I'm saying is, okay, so this game is at the end of February, so it'll be virtually the end of February, right? Okay. When is the draft going to be? They're gonna move the draft till May.
The draft is in April anyway.
Yeah, what do you do? That's still what
draft
has anything to do with it.
Okay, so I'm saying, like, do you see the year-round activity that's about to happen here?
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
Yeah,
and you don't think NFL fans
drop off?
You don't think NFL fans would love that? You know how many people talk about ain't this that time of the season where ain't nothing going on, even though it's baseball and hockey?
Yeah, but it's meaningless to me though. Like that's what I'm saying. For me, it's a thing. No, at this point, like the draft is a whole. Okay, the game is played in February. The draft is 2.5 months after that, and then we gotta wait 5 more months to training camp. Now you're gonna get rid of 2 preseason games.
Well, they're already at 3. It's always came at the exchange. Yeah, they would narrow it down. The only downside to this, because again, in terms of duration, it actually stays the same because of, again, the subtraction of a preseason game. So you actually make, again, more the regular games more meaningful. It lines up with a 3-day weekend, which is what people have kind of been asking for anyway, because of just how late the game typically ends on a Sunday. And the only downside is really for those that are trying to make an impact. Though we're talking about those later round draft picks, but the alternative, and why I believe this actually could work even more, is that you do have the somewhat of an alliance, if we want to call it that, with the UFL now, where they're the ones testing out rules. They've obviously merged with the XFL, and where potentially we could see people going there.
Oh, well, I didn't even think about it. So you think this is the NFL? The NFL is kind of trying to do to the Rocks League what the NBA want to do to Ice Cube?
No, they're working in tandem.
No, actually the opposite. He's actually suggesting the opposite.
Okay.
Because again, if you've only been able, how much are you really going to be able to see from someone? Because you're trying to test your starters, and you only have 2 chances now, and that 7th round pick isn't really going to get the opportunity for tape like he would have hoped for.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. How many injuries have we seen in preseason that were season ending?
Correct. And that's why they want to get rid of it altogether. If you're going to get hurt, they at least wanted it to count for something.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just think football and injuries are just separate from all other sports, except for professional bull riding. Okay. Do not go to your local watering hole and try to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Anywho, you don't want to do that, buddy. Yeah. I mean, my goodness. On a side note, when we talk about PBR, you can pick any one of those guys who do that for a living or as a sport or whatever you want to call it. And just look at the guys, rash. You're talking about injuries. Oh, man, a professional bull rider what he done dealt with and keep getting back up on a real live bull. Okay. I mean, it's one thing for 200-300-pound dudes to crashing each other on every play, but you on the back of a 900-something pound bull and it with them horns and it rear back trying to get you up off of it and the horn catch you in the eye. Okay. Yeah. I was watching, I don't know what channel it was, one Valley something. I mean, I like the PBR though. I ain't gonna even lie to you, right? I'm just off the beaten path anyway. Man, I forget who the guy is, man, but the announcers were talking about how he came back from 2 lacerated kidneys, 17 broken knuckles. I was like, my gosh. I'm like, this dude is a mass unit and he came back. Okay. Yeah, you gotta be they say you gotta be a little play football. You gotta be a whole lot of whoo to do that. But other than that, man, I mean, come on now. And you get 2 bye weeks, from my understanding, right? Don't you get 2 bye weeks? They talking about in that too, Double J?
Yeah, you will. Yeah, I think you get 2 bye weeks.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I'll tell you what though, you know what this does lends itself to. Yeah, them 2 bye weeks gonna be costly because there's gonna be a whole lot of teams going across the water now, playing games in Germany and in Great Britain and in Morocco, somewhere.
Well, that's what they setting up for anyway. They're gonna put an NFL team in Mexico.
Yeah.
And if you ain't,
and then wait till they have a game in Dubai.
Oh my God! Oh, goodbye. I'm just saying. Goodbye. Goodbye, Mr. Goodbar. Okay, well, anywho, that's the NFL in a nutshell. We'll see if all the changes have to shake themselves out. The Guardian cap, they might as well really put it back. The 18-game schedule, I actually wouldn't mind that, to tell you the truth. One more week of football wouldn't hurt. And then, the draft. I just can't get over what the Bills did. I just can't, and Brother Rich, he been circling the wagons and all that. I can hear him now. Oh,
he been throwing shots at me. Listen, the Bills get rid of Ken Dorsey and they lose their mind.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Oh boy, unbelievable. But anyway, welcome to the NFL. And on that note, I leave you with this quote: "Beautiful people are not always good, but good people are always beautiful." Imam Ali Ghazali. All right, it's been fun, but we got to run. Don't forget to check us out every day at 8 on the PM side, right here on the Yard. Every Wednesday, at 8 on the PM side, right here on the Yard. Or y'all can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the shop's fan page, and of course YouTube. And make sure when you're over at the tube, please do us a solid and hit that subscribe button. We'd be much obliged. And if that don't work, y'all can Google it for my man's B Rich, Double J, TJ, D Gully, and all those who follow and support us. We say thank you. I'm Barbershop Jay, and you've been listening to the Shop Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla, Double J, we still on after the fact? You bet it. Peace. We out. You understand me?